Hey, how's it going? ZmanTheTech here. Thanks for clicking on the video and tuning into SnoleyGames. Today we're covering my top 10 indie platform shooters on Nintendo Switch. Without much further ado, let's get into it. Number 10 on my list is Mutant Mudds Collection. In this collection, it includes Mutant Mudds Deluxe, which is a 2D 12-bit action platformer with 80 levels for you to explore. It also has a neat mechanic where you can jump between the foreground and background to access multiple parts of the stage. This collection also includes Mutant Mudds Super Challenge, which is 40 levels of rage-quitting madness when compared to the main release. It plays just like Mutant Mudds Deluxe, just with a huge spike in difficulty. I would recommend this one after you complete Mutant Mudds Deluxe, that way you're at least familiar with all the mechanics in the game. And lastly, it includes an intricate little puzzle game called Mud Blocks, where you connect similar colored blocks to blow them up with water bombs, while trying to achieve chain combos by hitting special blocks that clear entire rows both vertically and horizontally. Fun fact, it plays very similar to another game that was released by Atui on the DS called Bomb Monkey. That game was also part of a Atui collection on 3DS, which I really hope gets ported to the Switch at some point. Mutant Mudds Collection retails for $19.99, and you'll need about 71 megabytes for the install. Number 9 on my list is a game called C.A.R.L, also known as Computer Automated Resource Locator. This is a retro-style platform shooting adventure that blends classic platforming with quirky RPG story elements. It's very much inspired by classic PC games and really embodies that aesthetic through and through. In this game, we control our friend Carl, who has been tasked with locating and collecting tech units in the underground factory of Kent Industries for his engineer friend on the outside. You'll befriend defective robots in the dump, short for Depot of Unusable Machinery and Parts, and within the depths of the multiple levels of the factory, you'll be collecting items that fellow bots are looking for, as well as face some fairly dangerous foes while unraveling more and more secrets along the way. As mentioned prior, the art design exhibits that classic PC game aesthetic and is accompanied by a catchy electro chiptune soundtrack that had my feet tapping the floor while I was jamming out. This game retails for $14.99, and you'll need about 266 megabytes for the install. Number 8 on my list is Fury Unleashed. This is a platform shooter roguelite where your environment is split into the panels of a comic book that you navigate through at your own discretion. The more you explore, the more upgrades, perks, and skills you can find to have at your behest. The gameplay has a combo system within it that encourages quickly taking out your foes to activate a Fury mode that allows you to rip through everything without taking damage. This game has a slew of customization options as well as multiple difficulty levels, so you can choose which one fits your playstyle. You have the option to disable blood and gore, and you can also choose your player's skills and modify their appearance too. This is considered a soft permadeath where you choose the best items to assist you in your playthrough, and you unlock permanent upgrades when you die for subsequent runs. You'll encounter a decent amount of various enemy types, and there's a total of 40 bosses to face and learn the patterns of as well. You can play this game solo or co-op with one other person locally or online. This game retails for $19.99, however it is on sale for $1.99 at 90% off until November 8th. You'll need about 1.3 gigabytes for the install. Number 7 on my list is a hectic arcade platform shooter called Gun Crazy, and like the title suggests, the difficulty is quite crazy. There's also an intense amount of action happening on the screen, and it forces you to really focus on your surroundings and what's flying at your character. It's a relatively short playthrough of 4 uniquely designed stages, but it's one that you'll remember for sure. There's an arcade mode, as well as a 1cc mode that you can try your luck in. I figure once you master the patterns of the enemies and bosses in the standard mode, it should at least be somewhat more approachable. You'll acquire some special power-ups that will help you along the way, and you can attack foes at a distance with your gun arm or via close quarters melee attack with your robot fist. If you're up for a solid challenge, you found it with this title right here. This game retails for $4.99, and you'll need about 66 megabytes for the install. Number 6 on my list is Mercenary Kings Reloaded Edition. In this 2D action platformer, you're a member of the Mercenary Kings, who are regarded as the most skilled team of warriors for hire on Earth. Your goal is to avenge your fallen comrades that face their unfortunate demise and succumb to the forces of the evil organization Claw, who have seized an island-wide top-secret laboratory base. At this point, anything goes, and there is no shortage of absolute rage and retribution on your mind. The art style and design is very reminiscent of Metal Slug, which is a major plus for me because I grew up playing that game in the arcades, and I hold it near and dear to my heart. The game has large expansive areas, and there's a lot to explore as you make your way through them. You'll need to keep an eye out for POWs that need rescuing as well. You'll have the ability to craft and customize your weapons and armor with some of the materials that you find also. There is actually a risk and reward reloading mechanic in the game similar to one that you would find in the Gears of War series, so make sure to time it right for maximum efficiency or be penalized limited to just your knife for a short period of time should you miss the mark. This game is 1 through 4 players locally, 2 through 4 players via local wireless, and 2 through 4 players via online. It retails for $19.99, and you'll need about 290 megabytes for the install. Number 5 on my list is Gore and Cannoli 2. The setting is 1944, where the war in Europe is entering its final stage. So far, 15 years have passed since Vinnie Cannoli survived the Thugtown massacre in the previous story. Unfortunately, there are still some loose ends from the past that end up dragging Vinnie as far as the European battlefield of World War II. Your job is to find out who's been chasing after you and turning your friends into enemies. The storyline is deep and engaging in this title. There's a large assortment of weapons that you can use at your disposal, like Tommy guns and chainsaws, just to name a couple. And the game also features a full single or multiplayer campaign as well. The control scheme has seen a massive overhaul from the previous entry, now including 360 aiming, double jumping, kicking, jump kicking, dodge rolls, somersaults, dual guns, and a weapon wheel. Quality of life changes for sure. The original Gore and Cannoli is still a great game, no doubt, but that added level of control when it comes to the aiming was a much needed update, and I'm happy that it's here. Granted, it will take some getting acclimated with if you're coming fresh off the first game. If this is your first time playing the series, it's important to note that the game gets pretty gory, and the dismemberment is pretty aggressive, so keep that in mind. This game supports 1 through 4 players both locally and online, and you'll need about 1.9 gigabytes for the install. Number 4 on my list is an action platformer called Mighty Gunvolt Burst. It's not exactly a direct sequel, but rather an upgraded next installment in the Mighty Gunvolt universe. It features Beck from Mighty No. 9, and Gunvolt from Azure Striker Gunvolt as the main characters, and it now has fully customizable weapon sets based off of the abilities that you earn from fighting area bosses. The level of customization is quite detailed, ranging from the size of the projectile shot all the way down to the trajectory in which it propels. You can make some gnarly combinations and it's a blast to mess around with. Those customized weapon sets can then be saved as a preset that you can toggle through on the fly during gameplay. There's also a new burst combo system that rewards you for dispatching enemies and bosses in a close quarters fashion. And there's a dowsing ability that triggers the HD rumble function when you get close to hidden items and areas in the game. This game retails for $9.99, and you'll need about 67 megabytes for the install. Number 3 on my list is a small collection of games called Azure Striker Gunvolt Striker Pack. It includes Azure Striker Gunvolt 1 and 2, which originally released on Nintendo 3DS, and now they've been ported to the Nintendo Switch. I honestly couldn't be happier, and I hope more games on 3DS get ported, as there were some real gems on that platform. However, that will be a video for another time. As far as this collection of games, the Nintendo Switch version features a slew of upgrades from the 3DS version, including 60 FPS, an upgraded UI, high-resolution cutscenes, the entire DLC catalog from the 3DS version preloaded into the game, brand new vocal tracks for the character named Lumen, who you'll come to know early on in the first game, no spoilers, HD Rumble compatibility, etc. The art design is spectacular and the music in the game is next level. It completely matches the tone and style of the game, as it is very anime-esque in nature. The overall gameplay mechanics are definitely a highlight, and they are quite intuitive. Gunvolt fires energy darts that tag enemies, and if you tag them enough times, it increases the damage when you activate the energy field around him. This energy field is managed by a meter below your character, and you'll have to charge it every so often to be able to use it. There's an addictive combo system put into place that encourages the use of it, along with not taking damage to increase its overall count that contributes to the score at the end of the level. You'll be rewarded for it as well. Based on how you did at the end of the stage, you can randomly choose from special parts that you can use for customization to your gear for more abilities and such. There's also a third game in the series on the eShop as well if you're interested. I still need to pick that one up, and I'm pretty excited for it as I thoroughly enjoyed my time with these two. This pack retails for $39.99, and you'll need about 3 gigabytes for the install. Number 2 on my list is a Euro-style platformer called Gunlord X. This one has heavy emphasis on exploration with large areas to traverse and uncover. It's actually an enhanced port of a game originally developed and published by NG Dev in 2012 for the Neo Geo MVS arcade system. This version received a major overhaul graphically with a special 32-bit style along with widescreen support. New boss enemies were added as well as extended stages, and there are a multitude of various types of weapons to switch between when you find the applicable pods that hold them. This is another one of those titles that feels really good to play, and it's easy to lose track of the time while doing so. Character sprites and environments are incredibly rich and highly detailed as well. The soundtrack is definitely another worthy highlight with some amazing compositions all throughout my playthrough. In fact, there were some new tracks introduced exclusively in this version. There are shmup levels mixed in between the platforming ones that you can look forward to as well. We now also have a stable 60 FPS in both docked and undocked mode, HD rumble, and optional twin stick controls if you prefer to play that way and have full control over your shots. It's important to note that if you choose not to have that as your primary method of play, then the right stick is set to your snake beam, which you can use in that way alongside shooting your standard weapon. There are a slew of other technical improvements in this version as well. I'll leave it to you to check that out on your own time when you browse the store page. This game retails for $9.99, and you'll need about 156 megabytes for the install. And now for the number one game on my list, and it's none other than Cuphead. Bet you didn't see that coming. Yeah, right. Cuphead is one of those IPs that I didn't expect to see outside of the Xbox platform. However, here we are, and I'm very grateful that it did make it onto neighboring platforms, especially the Switch. For those that don't know about this game, it is a classic run and gun game with heavy focus on boss battles. It's very much inspired by cartoons of the 1930s, and the visuals and audio were carefully created with the same techniques of that era, meaning hand-drawn cell animation, watercolor backgrounds, and original jazz recordings. The amount of effort that went into this game as far as aesthetics alone is phenomenal. However, it doesn't stop there. The gameplay is extremely responsive with tight controls and fluid animations, and incredibly intuitive boss fights that keep you on your toes. It has platforming levels, shoot 'em up levels, and boss fight levels to jump into. There are also some minigame challenges in the mix as well. You need to collect gold coins on the run and gun levels and or find hidden ones on the map to use for currency to buy new shot types to help deal with the different enemy types and bosses. While learning the boss patterns, it will force you to strategize and find out what works best for you based off of those different weapon types. You'll play as Cuphead or Mugman and single player or local co-op with a friend while you navigate through strange worlds and discover hidden secrets in the 1930s inspired love letter of an era long past but not forgotten. I can't help but think about Steamboat Willie when I see that classic cell animation. It wasn't my era, but I was taught about it when I was younger, and it's awesome to see folks keep that style alive. This game retails for $19.99, and there is an awesome DLC called The Delicious Last Course that greatly expands upon the base game with even more content to take in. You can get both for $26.99, and you'll need about 3.6 gigabytes for the install. Alright folks, that's going to do it for this video. Thanks for checking it out and spending time with me while I share my top 10 indie platform shooter games. I've got another video planned for the near future for indie platformers in particular without the shooting mechanics. That one has been a lot of fun curating and whatnot, and I'm looking forward to that one too. If you haven't noticed, I try to keep my content full of lesser known titles that I feel really deserve the spotlight that they wouldn't otherwise get simply due to the fact there's so much shovelware on the eShop. A lot of really amazing titles get buried because of it. Also, being a hobby solo developer myself and having to wear all the hats in the process, I know how much work goes into these projects, and I really aim to help them see as much support as possible. Did any of your games make my list? Do you have any suggestions of ones that I should try? Drop it down in the comments and let me know. Alright, with that being said, if you like what you've seen, be sure to hit that like button. It helps out a ton with the algorithm to help push my content to others like yourself. And if you're new here, consider subscribing for more content like this. Have a good one. Take care. We'll see you on the next one.
Futuristic classic. Time is of the essence. I feel I got it mastered. Futuristic classic. It's always moving forward, so I'm never moving backwards.